Hello and welcome back. Welcome to the domain that is Mr. David. No, welcome to Vegas. We're going to have an exciting show. How dealers make 100K, 100,000, up to 100,000, actually more than 100,000, quite amazingly. So we revisit this show every now and then. It is sort of a show I've done quite a bit, but we're going to give it a little twist. We're going to make it a little more interesting. And we are going to divide it into its appropriate categories. And we're also going to have a free dealer school. So what we've done is like the schools that suck, we're going to do that now. Free school opportunities, we're going to do that now. And we're going to talk about why you might want to become a dealer or enter the gaming career path. And then we're going to talk about where to go, how to get it done. Then what it's like, what a day in the life of a student here at CEG, and what we have to look forward to. So if you don't already know, my name is David. I started dealing in 1991 at the Golden Gate on what's called a bird game or 25-cent table. And I've been involved in training and, casino training and gaming in general for quite a few years. And I am here to give you the skinny. And when I say skinny, I mean skinny like Dennis skinny. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you the honest to God truth about all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything that goes in between. But first let's thank Dennis for being a part of our, you don't even have a mic, dude. They can't even hear you. They don't even know you're here. Oh, you have your mic? Never mind. Everybody has a mic. How's the sound? Is everything good with the sound? Is anything coming off the walls? Is like, we have all these things happen on our podcast. You never know.
No, it seems just fine. Someone set the volumes a little bit low.
Oh, it's so low?
But that's really bad.
We're going to jack that up. But I think for some of you, this is going to be kind of interesting. I've done this show specifically a couple times. About once a year, we kind of revisit it, give you guys a heads up, what's happening, what's going on. But we're trying to make this the definitive. This might be the definitive one. This is going to be the one for all time. So for those of you interested in a career in gaming specifically, we're going to talk about that. And I think we're just going to get right into it, no?
Go for it.
All right, so here's the deal. We're going to break this down to number one thing I get asked a lot is like why I got into gaming. I got into gaming quite literally by accident. I have no intention to get into gaming. I didn't know I was going to get into gaming. I really enjoyed Vegas. I came through Vegas. I kind of broke down in Vegas. I was here with my wife at the time, and we had a relative newborn. And strangely enough, I interacted with somebody that was downtown. They invited me to the school. And it was something to do. I didn't even know if I'd graduate the school or what the options were. I was very confused. And I went to school. It was a terrible school. In fact, in most of the time in the earlier eras of Vegas, schools were a money grab. That's all they were. I mean, there were, I think, some good teachers out there, but many of them were literally inside the casinos. And a lot of times that's how you learn. You knew somebody in a casino, they would teach you on-the-job training, and it worked out that way. Schools have obviously evolved over time. Strangely enough, I'm going to put this out earlier than later, but schools are cheaper now than they used to be, and I'll tell you why. Okay, but I'm going to give you the big, the big incentives. Number one is there's a lot of casinos in town where you make north of $60,000, $70,000 a year, and here in Vegas, that's a pretty decent living. And the benefits and all this stuff we'll kind of break down. But when this 100K, the thumbnail, is not a teaser. It's real. If you evolve into gaming, there's quite a few jobs where you can make north of 100,000. There's a lot of jobs out of market where you can make north of 100,000. And there's even a lot of really fun things to be a dealer on, like cruise ships and islands and things like this, where you can save a lot of money and you can generate income that's essentially tax-free up to a certain point. So the casino career is, for me, is an exciting career. There's a lot of reasons to get involved in casinos. Casinos are expanding all throughout the world. Casinos now are not looked on as negatively as they used to in some markets. So some markets are adding casinos. And it's really been a great time to be part of this experience. Now, the other thing is, so I'm going to go down kind of the whys. Okay, so I'm going to go down all right. So AI is not taking a job. That's one of the things I hear a lot. So is AI coming? Is artificial intelligence coming? At what point do dealers become non-existent and we move on to electronic table games? Those of you who are familiar with the casino market know that there's electronic roulette, there's electronic craps, there's all these different electronic games. They are an ad. They are an ad. In some markets, those kinds of tables have taken over for dealers, but not here in Vegas, and not where the actual, the casino floor requires a heart. And I say this with all sincerity. It's a very different space. It's a very different feel. If you go to a casino and there's no dealers, there's no tables, it's literally just slot machines. And that's ultimately what electronic table games. And some of you that are in those markets know exactly what I'm talking about. You go to a casino that has a pit. We call it a pit, where there's casino tables and actual people dealing and people interacting. It's a very different feel. It's a very different experience. And I tell you that casinos are not getting rid of that anytime soon, especially here in Vegas. Demand for dealers is quite literally through the roof. They can't train them enough. And we're going to talk about that in a second too. But we estimate that there's a shortage of about $5,000 here in Las Vegas. 5,000 dealers. Did I say dollars? I said dollars. 5,000 dealers at least. It's amazing, and in fact, it's become so existential to the casino. There are actual casinos that are in jeopardy of having to shut down their pits for lack of dealers, or their turnover is so high because there are so many other jobs that it just can't be supported. So they might have to get rid of their casino tables, not that they want to, but they have no choice. It's quite stunning. The number of casinos that have job fairs on a consistent basis that reach out to the school is literally, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. I mean, every week there is, I would say, dozens of casino properties. Some of them that I would never have heard from 5 or 6 years ago. They're like, we have a job fair, they get hired on the spot, we give them full time. I mean, it's literally on and on and on. And not just in Las Vegas, by the way, in many, many other markets throughout the country, there's a shortage of casino dealers. And many casinos are having to make a really hard choice on what games and how they interact with the public. Here's what I love a lot. And you know me, I'm going to be on a few tangents, but young people today love the human interaction. I remember when we thought that everybody was going to, just be busy on TikTok all day or busy on YouTube all day, like here we are, right? But Dennis, for example, knows more classic music than I do. In fact, older classic, like jazz and Frank Sinatra. And it's quite amazing how we've returned to this other part of the experience. They're putting down their phones and they're looking for things to do that are interactive, that are social, that are old school. We have the Pinball Hall of Fame, which is a fantastic destination. It's this massive, and it's the old pinball machines. You know what I mean? The old, in many cases, I would say non-electronic. I guess they all have some electronic in them. But the world is changing and going back to this sort of being rooted in the old style, the old ways of doing things. It's fantastic. And now we have people who are watching YouTube becoming educated on how to play craps. So craps demand has gone through the roof. You're coming here and you're learning how to play blackjack and poker and all of these games that require actual dealers. So all this fear about, we're going to run out of craps players or run out of, that's not true. That's the exact opposite is happening all the time. In fact, Casino Quest that we have in the Las Vegas Strip, I mean, we teach 1,200 people a month that come to Vegas and stop by, start a Casino Quest and move on from there. And many of them started on YouTube. Where this type of business would never have existed maybe 20 years ago is thriving and growing right now, okay? So being a casino dealer, it's a pretty exciting time to be a casino dealer. There's lots of opportunity in this space, and there's lots of room for advancement. So becoming a dealer, it's not just a dealer in itself. It's an entry into the casino business. Now, to become a dealer, you don't need a high school diploma. You don't need a college degree. You really don't even need a GED, quite frankly. When we interview you and sign you up as a dealer, we just need an ID. We don't even need an ID from the US. We have people that come from Japan, come from Korea, come from all over the world to come train with us. So all we need to know is that you're a living, breathing human, and we need a reference point, maybe an address in case. But ultimately, you really don't need a whole lot, right? So, and you can get started at our school at 18 years old because there are markets that have 18-year-old dealers. We're hoping Vegas kind of wakes up to this. It'd be a great thing to promote to kind of expand the labor pool so you can start a little earlier. Washington State, for example, you can deal at 18. Obviously, you can't play, you can't drink alcohol there, but you can start as a dealer and work as a dealer at 18 years old. So you can start at our facility at 18 years old. Okay, so lots of demand. We've already established that. And there's the money here in Vegas starts very simply. You break in your very first job, your starting job, you're going to make around $40,000 a year. Now, that's not all the properties. Some of the properties are lower. Some of the properties are a little higher. Some of them are in the middle. Now, we at CEG, we like to pride ourselves on starting you at the little better property, right? So there are some schools here in town who will send you to lower end properties because that's the kind of product they put out. Yeah, it is what it is. You know, we ran into a girl the other day dealing at a break-in property, and you know, we instantly knew where she came from. You know what I mean? And not to say, you know, we're not going to sit here and badmouth the other school because, you know, it is what it is. But we like to think that we produce a better quality candidate, and we're able to send them reliably to better properties. Now, that's not true for everyone, right? So some people have struggled a little bit, need a little more work, and may have to start at a lower end, but that's okay. Once you get in the door, you get some experience, then you can move up. But the average starting pay here in Vegas is $40,000-ish. Now, once you get 6 months, we say 6 months to a year, we would prefer that you don't jump ship so quickly, because the casino partners that we work with, we're trying to work with them on retention. That's one of the problems they have. Some of the early starting casinos, like where you start or what we call where you break in, they have a high turnover rate, and it costs them money to keep training and moving people through their casino. So ideally, we hope that you stay at least 6 months, maybe even a year. Some of you might stay forever because many times they'll incentivize you staying, right? They offer you benefits, maybe it's close to your house, these kinds of things. But within a year, you should be in the 50 plus range. And there are quite a few properties here in town that easily are 50 plus. In fact, I would say half of them, more than half of them. Then there's this sort of other category. There's these higher tier properties where you start making north of $70,000 a year, and there's quite a few of them. So like on the surface, there's about eight or more of those on the list. And we have, if you're a good dealer, you put your head down and you really learn, you really practice, you establish some presence on the game. It's not a hard path. We have a woman recently from Bulgaria.
I think so.
Yeah, and I guarantee you she's okay with me chatting her out. But she started at the school about 9 months ago. Might be as much as a year now. And she had no English. She came to the school very nervous, worried. She had no English. She started out of school. We put her into a little above average break-in, not exactly a break-in. And she has since made it all the way to Caesar's Palace. Quite remarkably. She's gone through, that's been her third job, I believe. So we were able to get her, you know, better than average break-in, and then we work with you through your whole career. And I kid you not, that's 100% a thing. If you go it alone, that's great too. You're going to meet people in this business, and you'll be able to manage your own career. But if you need us and you have the skill set, we will help open doors for you. And I absolutely promise. In fact, we encourage all of our students to come see us. We'll work with you. I mean, through your whole career, as long as we're around. David's here to do what he can. And part of that is my own story. My own journey was I never had juice. I never had that. My first time getting a great job was when I ended up working at the Rio, and I passed an audition. I did really well compared to practically everyone else that was with me. I did great. I had a really good audition. I got hired on the spot. But prior to that, it was very difficult for me to find a good job. I worked at a lot of, let's just say, less than average joints or casinos at the time because I didn't know anybody. And back in the day, you kind of needed, you needed to know someone or have a name to get your foot in the door. And I couldn't get my foot in the door. So David's on the revenge tour now. And the revenge tour is helping people get their foot in the door if they deserve it, the same way I did. So it took me a little later in life to get my foot in the door and get that better job. But we are here as a school to help all of our students to just all the way to the top. We've gotten people to Aria, Cosmo, Mirage, MGM Grand, all the top. You name it here in town, we have a dealer there, 100%. So anyway, but anyway, so this woman, she had no English. And when I tell you she had no English, that was her biggest worry. It was, listen, I have no English. You know what I mean? Of course, that wasn't the first communication because she had no English. But, she was worried. I always tell them, just don't worry. If you can pass, if I can make you a dealer, and I can make almost everybody a dealer, it's really not that hard. To some people, it looks a little hard, And it looks like there's some pressure involved, but there's really not. It's a really easy, most of dealing, it's all about order of operations and basic understanding of the game and colors and units. And we teach you all these ways to get to the end result. But anyway, so she's at Cedars Pal. She's having a fantastic life. And she still interacts with the school. She's taking single zero. And she's just, she can't be happier. Many of you that have known us, by the way, one of my proudest moments is this Ukrainian mother and son. So the mother came to us. I got to share this story with you. I'm sorry. But listen, the school is my passion. We're gonna get through this podcast. I'm gonna give you all the points, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. But still a podcast, still a show. So I had this Ukrainian woman who came to me, and at first I had no idea she was Ukrainian. I mean, she spoke. She brought someone who translated, and basically she had no English. And I have a little translator thing. If you wonder how I can communicate at all, I have a little translator I use sometimes. In fact, we have a couple at the school, and we have various people that speak different languages. And so in this case, we had someone who spoke our language, and she had no English. She was very worried, but luckily she had been a dealer many years ago in the 90s. She had been a dealer for some time at a casino, just for a couple of years. And so we put her through the school. We sort of dusted her off. She had some great skills. And we were able to get her directly into the Mirage. And I mean, we worked with another one of our staff members, Daniel, and luckily she had some interaction with single zero, and they're looking for a single zero, especially someone who can, who had her language skills. And she went from being nervous and worried that, she's in a new country, she doesn't speak the language very well, she needs to make a living. She was supporting a whole household. There was a whole household, I don't know how many people, but living in arguably a small space. And, they had newly immigrated here. And, they were trying to create a life for themselves. They're out getting a job and trying to create a life for themselves. And within a very short period of time, really, we had her doing very well and making well. And she's now at the Fontainebleau, which so here's what happens. So she goes to the school, and then for about 2 weeks into the school, she's still having some issues with language, and her son arrives. So her son is I know Yuri. I know. I'm gonna put you out there, my friend. Her son is a merchant marine, basically. Has been doing these super tankers and been merchant marine, and so. He shows up and he obviously, they speak the same language. And thanks to our Path Up program, I gifted him all the classes. I literally gifted them all the classes. He didn't pay a cent. She paid, but he didn't pay a cent. And all I really wanted was for her to have this life and create this opportunity for themselves. And take care of this whole house of people. So he comes to the school, and he's now working with it, and I realized, at first I'm thinking, well, he's just going to be at the school. I'm not going to draw lines what games he can. Just going to let him work with her. And my expectation was low. I didn't even know if he'd graduate. I didn't even know if he was interested in being a dealer or getting a job. He was just trying to help his mom translate and help with the classes at first. Sure enough, he starts going to the school. He gets through the classes. I get him a job. They're both working as dealers. I mean, they went from hardship to success. And they're passing on that success to another group of people that came. Shortly after that, they came, they were part of this other program. I don't know if they're related or friends or part of the same group of people, but it's stunning. I mean, you guys, every one of you that was part of that Path Up program played a role in this family, creating opportunity for themselves and having a career. Anyways, it's a fantastic thing. We see him sometimes. He's actually gotten another job, a better job. I don't want to say where he's at now, but he's moved on as well. And I mean, they're making great money. Between the both of them, they're making north of $100-something thousand a year, about $140,000 a year. That's really, really good here in Vegas. So going from zero and not having real language skills, it's really a fantastic thing. So we have stories like that all the time. It's quite incredible. In fact, many years ago, we even had this documentary company that wanted to come and film it. It's amazing how transformative it can be for some people. For some other people, it's just a bucket list thing, something to do part-time, become a Vegas dealer. But for some people, it's life-changing. You know what I mean? If you're working back at the house, you're a dishwasher, you're a landscaper, you're literally coming out of the Army. You're coming out of the Army. It's a life-changing experience. You go from stress to no stress. All right. So I got onto the why. Now we're going to, let me expand on that. All right. So the other reasons why I enjoy the dealer life, or at least starting as a dealer, is many of us deal with, with deadlines and reports. And look, that's what I deal with now, strangely enough. And you want to get away from that. Well, becoming a dealer is fantastic. So as a dealer, by the way, you get a break every hour for 20 minutes. You get 2 hours of breaks on an 8-hour shift. So you only work 6 hours a day. How many of you get a break every hour for 20 minutes? Not many. I mean, whatever it is. Here's the other thing. You're lifting cards and chips. It's really a low level of effort for the most part. It's a really easy job, Now, you put your apron on, you deal, you're not an adversary. You don't have to worry about, you're just there to deal the cards, pay the money, adhere to procedure. But if you run into an issue, guess what? You got a guy with a suit or a woman with a suit. You don't have to take a whole lot of responsibility or stress. So if you're coming from any kind of work environment where you have reports and deadlines and someone looking over your shoulder, now we'll get to that in a minute, you pass that off. I mean, you take your apron off, you go home and there's nothing to do until you show up the next day and put your apron back on. I mean, it's fantastic. For many of us who come from other lives, I know a stockbroker who left his job on the East Coast to deal blackjack on the Strip. Loves it. Rich. I mean, the guy's loaded. He came here to be a dealer and get away from all that and just, spend the last 10 years of his life because he wanted to do something. He wanted to be a Vegas dealer. He wanted stories of his own. He wanted to see the action, be part of the experience, and that's what he does. He does blackjack and some carnival games and loves every minute of his life. And there's lots of that. All right. Now.
We have a super chat. Nathan gave us 2 Canadian.
Hi, Nathan.
Said, greeting from Canada.
Hi, Canada. We put people into Windsor, by the way, already. Yeah. Crap dealers.
There's also a couple little questions here and there.
All right, you want me to answer one minute? We'll take a little pause.
Just a little pause.
Okay, pause.
That Rask Merlin asked, does the $40K a year starting pay include tips?
It does include tips. So, cost of living in general, although the things have been going up in Vegas, so Vegas used to be a lot more affordable than it is, and I'm sure a lot of us are going through this, but it does. I will say quite honestly, there are so many casinos now that are adding healthcare and full-time benefits, stuff like this. So most of the jobs that we put them in are in the 42 to 45 category, but within 6 months, that steps up to 50-ish plus, very quickly. I know talking about these numbers years ago was a whole different thing, but you can very quickly, within a year, get to a very good life. And remember, it's not just dealing. There's lots of opportunity throughout the casino space. Many. Good.
We have another super chat from Clint Vert. Gave us $4.99.
Clint, I know we're talking. I got your email, or he's coming out. We're gonna do the player. He's gonna deal to me. He's gonna be my dealer.
Okay, let me read the.
Go ahead. Yeah.
How do dealers stay current with new games and industry trends?
Mm-hmm.
Great content. See you guys next week.
Yeah. That's a good question. So most of the time, whatever casino that you work at will train you on new things that are coming, new side bets, new tech, that kind of thing. It doesn't have the same evolution as you would think. So it really depends on where you're at. So if you're at a top level strip property and you're getting exposed to AI, new cameras, new shufflers, and things like this, obviously you get training on that a lot faster. Then if you work downtown, you work at an older property, you're not going to be exposed. That won't be part of your curriculum. Once you move into management, however, obviously you're going to, you play a role. You go to conventions. There's obviously gaming conventions here. There's a lot of ways to kind of, either learn about or understand how these things work. There is within the gaming space, strangely enough, even though it's table games, there's a lot of new stuff that's always being introduced. Most of it, quite frankly, doesn't make it onto the floor. And a lot of it is derivative of slots and things like this. But you do get new side bets. You do get newer technology. In most cases, when it comes to shufflers, it's literally the button. How the shuffler works isn't so much, okay, here's the button you press. You know what I mean? They have new player tracking technology and player cards, which that is the purview of your supervisor. But it really just depends on where you work. Yeah. All right, good.
I mean, there's a couple more questions, but we'll save them for.
Well, we're going to talk about the training center at the end, by the way, because we have kind of an exciting new venture that we're expanding, but we'll save it for the end. Just wait for it. So those of you that are interested and think you might be interested in being a dealer, don't want to spend too much time in Vegas, want to do maybe a 2-day program, we're going to have a 2-day program for you coming up. And we are going to make it available so that way you can get exposed to it, see if it's something you might want to do. Come out for a few days, spend some time with us, and then think it over for a year, 2 years, 10 years, whatever you want to do. And we're going to make it available for tourists and things like that and groups and everything else. All right. Are you ready? Okay. So I will say this. I will add to the, if you're tired of someone looking over your back. So here is one of the areas where people express some concern, right? So if you're someone who likes to work for yourself, or on your own, believe it or not, dealing is that. So at first, when you start out as a dealer, you got the lights, you go at a live game, and there are people that are watching you, and you know the surveillance is watching you, and your supervisor's watching you, and you have to do alerts, and it feels like there's all this activity over your shoulder. And then once a shift, a couple hours, or a couple days goes by, depending upon how you kind of work, that all goes away, and it's your game. It's your presence, it's your table, it's your time, and all of that just sort of drifts away. And you are your own dealer. You're your own space. It's hard to explain until you've actually dealt a live game, but once you deal a guy, like for me dealing dice, I take over that side of a dice table, it's mine. Those are my customers. This is my experience. Yes, I have order of operations. Yes, I know there are people watching, but it's all background. You know what I mean? Me managing the bets and everything else all becomes. So it's not a thing. It's not like you're working at a cubicle and you have a report due and someone's going to analyze and criticize and whatever the case is. None of that goes on in the gaming community. Now, if you make a mistake, someone's going to, and they see it and someone's going to call you on it. There's of course those types of things, but it's at this other level. You know what I mean? So there's that. So I want to impress. I know a lot of people are nervous, and especially if you're not all that extroverted. Not everybody's extroverted in this business. I mean, this is how it is. There's a lot of people that don't even talk a whole lot. I'm sure many of you who come to Vegas, you've experienced dealers who are very introverted. And, so that's also not a thing. You don't have to be someone who talks like me. You don't have to be someone who's constantly on point or smile every minute of the day. You just have to be a regular human being and be willing to be, you still are a frontline employee. You have to be willing to say hello. You have to interact with customers. There's certain presence you have to do, or certain things that you have to do to make the games work. But there you go. And the last thing I will say is confronting like the math and the opportunity of math. There's very little math, really. There are basic fundamental things you have to understand about what the games pay. But a lot of people will look at a roulette table, for example, and there's a lot of different things that a lot of different ways, but it's all in units and colors. You don't deal with a lot of math, strangely enough. Yes, it's 35-1 and 8-1, and there's different payouts. But once you get to putting your hands on stacks, and it's this many of this stack, and it's this many colors. There are no mathematicians. There are some mathematicians. Okay, never mind that. There are some mathematicians, but there's no Okay, there is a rocket scientist. I do know a rocket scientist. Straight enough, I know a rocket scientist, not a dealer. So I can't say that anymore. But let's just say you don't have to be anything special. You don't have to worry. You got to add 21. Okay, if you want to be a blackjack dealer, you have to be able to count up to 21. All right. If you want to be a roulette dealer, you really just have to be familiar with the checks and the colors and the units. But there's lots of shortcuts and lots of secrets that we have to help you pay the bets. So if you're worried that it's a math thing, it's really not a math thing. And letting that get in your way is not a thing. So there's that. I hear that a lot, by the way. People show up and go, "Hey, I'm not great at math," and I'll be like, "Listen, either am I." You know what I mean? All right, you ready? So demand is everywhere. Casinos are growing, new markets are being created. There's a lot of new countries, entire countries are coming online. The opportunity for casino dealers is quite literally off the charts. It's stunning. And then the types of lateral opportunities, one of the best paths through the casino is through the casino floor, like literally. So if you want to be an accountant in a casino, if you want to be whatever you want to be in a casino, you starting as a dealer is a pathway to almost all of it. It's really a thing. Let's say you want to work in surveillance, you want to do investigations, even security, whatever. You knowing table games, you being a frontline employee is a path to literally every other place in the casino. I know people that have gone from housekeeping to the casino floor and from the casino floor into housekeeping supervision. Maybe not just housekeeping itself, but there's lots of opportunity, and a lot of it goes through the heart of the casino, which is always, in my opinion, the casino table game floor, right? All right. So now we're gonna get to, okay, so let's say you have some interest. Now you want to know how to get started, right? Where do you go? All right, well, there's a few ways. Obviously, I would recommend going online. We have a dealer school site, right? We have 2 different channels. You can get a heads up on the games and how they're dealt. I would say this, the problem sometimes with YouTube, and no takeaway from all of you people that are doing content, absolutely love all the content, well, most of it. But a lot of it is an abstract of the real thing, you know, even our channel where we talk about roulette videos and we talk about these roulette systems, stuff like this, some of these things really don't play out in the casino, right? Even on a crap table, we talk about how exciting some of these systems are, but some of those are really just for YouTube. It's not a real representation of what a dealer, might reasonably see in a normal game, right? So I worry sometimes when people go on YouTube and they see things through this sort of linear space, or not linear space, there's sort of a chaos of YouTube and stuff like that. What I recommend doing is getting some exposure, try not to go through the rabbit hole of that, going into the casino, looking, watching dealers, maybe even interacting, get on a game, talk to a dealer, ask them, hey, what are the things you like about this? Most dealers, I'm sure, are willing to, more than happy to give you some feedback. Maybe they'll tell you good things about where they work, or they'll tell you how to get in at a local casino. If you live in Arizona, for example, or you live in Oklahoma, many of the tribal casinos, they train you right there. And if you're interested, all you gotta do is ask. And then they'll send you to HR, you fill out an application, then you get signed up and you become a trainee, right? In many cases, it's free. It's free. In some cases, it's free and paid, which, by the way, that gets me to my next thing. So here in Vegas, we have a program with Station Casinos. And we have been working with Station Casinos for many years. It's a fantastic local casino partner. And they have a lot of really good casinos. They have a fantastic network of local casinos. They're adding new casinos all the time. They just opened Durango. And it's always been a fantastic operator. And it's always been one of the leading properties that we use to send our dealers to. And by far and large, they're a step up from some of the, or most of the other sort of break-in opportunities that are available here in town. So Station Casinos has a free dealer school. Okay, so if you go to stationcasinosjobs.com and you just search in for dealer trainee, there's a dealer trainee. Now wait for it, because there's 2 paths, okay, if you're interested in being a dealer here in Vegas. So the dealer trainee program is, if you get accepted or interviewed, they'll put you into this trainee program. It's 6 weeks currently, and they'll pay you. They pay you to show up at the school. We submit your hours. You're literally paid an hourly wage. It's not big, but they pay you for the training. And then if you pass, you're hired. That's it. All you gotta do is get your audition at the school. You gotta get through Becky and Lauren and our team at CEG, and boom, you're on your way to becoming a dealer. Now, this path is a very linear, straight path, right? Now, the other path is to come to our school on your own and be an independent dealer, and you learn independently. And it's much more flexible. You have a few more options. You're not just on the station network, and there's that. So you can kind of pick the games. We sort of choose the games for you if you're doing the station program, and you're only going to go to the one casino that's sort of the pathway to the other casinos, right? With the independent program, you're going to pay. You got to pay. It's still very affordable because most of our packages start at $500. So it's very affordable. You make that back your first week or 2 weeks of being a dealer. And again, you have a lot of options in terms of where to go. So you don't even have to go here. You don't have to go to Vegas. We send people to Colorado. We send a lot of different places. We have relationships, you name it, we have relationships. So there's that. Now, why do I want to go to a free dealer school, and why would I want free, and why would I want to pay? Well, Station is a fantastic, we went after this with just Station. I was very adamant early on that the only casino operator we wanted to have this relationship with Station Casinos. We have worked with lots of other operators, some of which they pay, don't pay, have better opportunities, less opportunities. With Station Casinos, we've always had a really positive working relationship, and I personally know every single table game director. So for me, it's not just about, I want to be a casino dealer. I also want to send you to a property where I know you're going to have the best opportunity to have a great life as a casino dealer and have a really good stepping stone. If I send you somewhere where I know they suck and I don't like, personally, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know how else to present this other than, I'm not going to go ahead and mention, but there are certain casinos where the bosses are, maybe not as nice or not as flexible or not as accommodating, whatever the case is, you see? So like when you come to our school, we try to get to know you and send you to a place that's close to your home, where you're in an environment that's productive for you, all of these things. We want to match it with your personality because I feel that's your best way forward. If you want a more structured casino, we have those. If you have less structured, all these things are true, right? So having this ecosystem, the Station Casino ecosystem, and I can tell you that it's a fantastic ecosystem. I mean, every single table game director out here in this network of casinos is a fantastic human being. I mean, really. I mean, there's no takeaway. And by the way, I was saying this way before we had this relationship. Now you're going to ask me, do they pay? Yeah, they pay. They pay your tuition, okay? Now, we as a school, by the way, don't take any other money. No one pays us for referral, although they offer. If they pay us to refer us, some other schools will pay for the referral, right? And guess where they send you? If I'm getting paid for a referral, guess where I'm sending you? Or, you know what I mean? That's my motivation, right? I'm incentivized to send you to this one place. That's not an option for me, right? Because I would not be doing you or our dealers a favor by doing that. I don't want to be locked in. Now, Station Casinos has a very specific program. When you sign up, you're agreeing to this relationship, right? They're going to pay you hourly to come to the school. They're going to pay us, obviously, for us to teach you. And then we're going to send you back to them because that's the relationship, and you start recognizing and knowing that that is the relationship. You follow? If you come as your own dealer or your own thing, I'm going to send you to the best property for you 100% of the time. I'm going to ask you where you live. I'm going to get to know you a little bit, see what kind of personality you have, and I'm going to find an opportunity that fits you, period. No one's paying for that. No one has paid for that. No one will ever pay for that. It's never going to happen as long as I'm alive and I'm managing, CG Dealer Score. For that matter, both me and Alex have felt very adamant about it. And trust me, we've been offered a lot. There's a casino out here, quite frankly, that offered us a program where you would pay us and we would send you to their school, okay? And you know what that is? That's a no. That's a hard no, because first of all, we're confident we can train you better, and we're also confident we're going to give you the right choice. Now, that might be the right choice for you, but I'm not going to be locked into that. That's nonsense. But anyways, all right. I'm gonna go on. Do you want to interrupt? This would be a good interrupting time, no?
A good interrupting time?
I mean, I'm just saying there's options, because now I'm moving on to
I did
where
want to
not
read
to go.
this one. I was looking for earlier.
Yeah.
It's not a question. Just someone says, it is a life-changing thing for me, David. David, I appreciate every second I spent in that school.
Really? Oh, fantastic. Do anyone know who that is? If we don't know, but
I don't know their actual.
So that's where we talk about the different schools. Here, I'm going to talk about different schools. I'm going to try not to. I don't want to talk too negatively about any school. Okay, but what I want you to do is very simple. You gotta empower yourself. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to waste money. It matters where you go to school. It matters what you learn, who you learn from. And by the way, there's no such thing as a perfect school. Okay, we're an adult trade school. We can only kind of lead you there. We can't force you to do something you're not to do. So there are things that happen at our school where, some people need more coddling than others, and things get missed or overlooked, and that's going to happen literally. That's human nature, that's life, okay? We can only do what we can. By the way, as I mentioned, we only charge $500. I mean, some courses are $595. We have a full suite of courses at $750 or $995, but it's pretty cheap. When I was a dealer, when I went to school, I paid $1,000 a class. Can you imagine? The problem is that the schools that we have now have cannibalized where we just keep competing with each other to the point where no one's making any money. And we've stopped that a little bit. Our prices have gone up a little bit to sort of compensate and push back for that. And thank God we have the station relationship, so there's that. But I will tell you that when you go to a school and you're looking around and you're making phone calls, make sure, first of all, there's some flexibility in their program, right? Ask them what kind of teachers they have, what their background is, Everybody at our school makes $18, $20, $25 an hour, all right? That's absolutely a thing. So no one, we have some coaches that work part-time that make a little less, but everybody at our school makes a living wage. It's for us, it's a great opportunity for we have some older instructors, who help us out. It's a perfect part-time job for them, or in some cases, full-time job. But we pay, you know what I mean? And most of the money that we collect is paid. I mean, that's all. We don't make a whole lot of money. CEG is not this big profit. We hope by adding this new program where we're going to be teaching people on the weekends, the sort of weekend warrior dealers. We hope to use that to kind of upgrade our experience, but that's still to be found out. But what I want you to do is not just ask all the right questions, but also go see the school, talk to dealers, see what's going on. If you see a lot of mopey, dropey, you know what I mean? If the walls are yellow, something's missed. Our walls are not yellow. We clean our walls, we take out our trash, we vacuum our carpets. Obviously, it's adult-trade school. It gets a lot of activity, stuff. But if you go into a space that doesn't look like a space that's healthy, it's probably not all that healthy, quite honestly. Look at the tables. Look at the felts on the tables. Are the felts on the tables worn and used? I mean, at ours we refresh and renew and restaple our felts. Quite frequently. In fact, we just got a new shipment of it. So the one thing we are probably due to check into, which we try to change them when we can, are the checks. But for the most part, all of our stuff we have full-size tables, actual casino tables that are provided to us by the casinos, by the way. And we have our pride of ownership. We want you to feel confident and feel comfortable and enjoy your time and space, at our school. And it's as simple as that. So make sure to talk to students and see how happy they are. Talk to the instructors. You don't want to go to a school where you're kind of left alone to your own devices, or no one's there to provide any kind of feedback or counseling and things like this. And again, we having this network of opportunity, talk to them about where they send you. So some people will say, well, I send you to the Strip. Well, what does that mean, you send me to the Strip? Jerry's Nugget is technically, on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's not necessarily the first choice. I hate to throw that out there. By the way, it has a great table game director over there, and it's a great choice for some people. But, that's kind of disingenuous if you're saying, hey, I send you to the Strip, but you're sending someone over here. And by the way, there's a few Strip properties that are absolutely terrible to go. I would never send you there because there's not a lot of opportunity to move on, or they're run by people who are themselves terrible. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's not the same. And if you're wondering why I would say this, because it's true. If I'm not going to work there, I'm not going to send you to work there, and that's the end of it, right? And by the way, those people that do work there, if you want to have a really new relationship, come talk to me. Come sit at my desk, say hello to David, and we'll work it out. You know what I'm saying? There you go. All right. Anyways, by the way, I want to thank you guys and this community for letting me and giving me the voice and the power to be honest all the time, literally all the time. Because you know where we do the best? Right here. We do the best right here talking to you. Everything else is a win, and we love our businesses, and we love our dealers, and we love our players, and all this stuff. But if it wasn't for YouTube, I think we'd have to have a different relationship. We'd have to be towing a whole different line. We don't have to tow a line. We could be honest. We could be all the things that we're supposed to be as people, right? Truth will set us free, and that's literally what we're here to do. All right. Let me get to. Now we're going to go into like the career path. All right, so that's the next question is, people will sit down and they're wondering, okay, what do I do? Because then we're going to follow, after the career path, we're going to follow up with, what a day in the life of someone at CEG. So what's the process at CEG? What does a day look like? So we kind of give you the whole picture. And then I know there's a few people that are looking to come out here, like where to stay. If you're coming from out of state, what are the opportunities? And then at the very end, we're going to go over the very new CEG training center that's coming in June. Is going to be built out and open in June of this year, by the way. I have the lease to sign in not in my phone, but on my computer. It's pretty exciting stuff. If you guys have been part of CasinoQuest.biz /the center, we'll have a new newsletter going out this week. We sent out the old newsletter. You might have missed it, but I'll make sure to put a link to the information from that one. Me and Dennis are working on it, so give us a minute. We got a lot of things on the table. But all right. So before I go on to this, you want to interrupt? This is good interrupting time now.
It's good interrupting.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to work with you, buddy. You know what I mean?
Okay, first let me read the super chat. We have Alan Toy gives $5. Says, do you guys have an open position for chip rack management?
I know, he would love that. He loves organizing. He's OCD about this stuff. We have an open position for someone to align all our pictures on the wall, sir, okay? So you can come by and we do that. I'll wait till he sees one of the Patreon videos. We had a picture askew. It was askew, Alan. We set it there just for you, buddy.
Right. J.MC says, do you guys have connections to casinos outside of Nevada?
Yeah, 100, yeah, tons. Literally tons. You wouldn't even believe it. I mean, we have Iowa, Louisiana, New Orleans, Mississippi. We have Denver, Blackhawk, although there's one casino out there that's not getting back to me. But we have upstate New York. We put people into Canada. What did I mention? What's the name of the Canada one? Windsor, Canada. We've even had phone calls from Malaysian properties that I'm not even sure are all that legal, to be honest with you. We had a Yakuza conversation years ago. That was interesting. Yeah, so like cruise ships are always looking. It's quite stunning. We've had our reach is quite far now. I mean, thanks to the YouTube channel, we've had quite a few relationships. So really, anywhere you want to go, we can. Even if we don't have an active line of communication with them, we can find someone. Like at this point, we know someone somewhere who has a relationship. We can just make phone calls, right? Just from the strength of who we are and the people we know. So yeah. Yeah. So what do we have? All right, that's it.
Is there one specific station casino that takes all the new dealers, or do they get spreads amongst all their places?
So it's Palace primarily, and then there's a few that will go to Boulder. So Palace and Boulder are considered the break-in, but primarily this program is centered on Palace Station and Boulder. And it's an evolving program, just so you know. So like if you go there and you look up, you're going to see the casino boss. Shout out to Dustin, does a fantastic job. And he originally was promoting this new program. And he talks about it being a 30-day program. It's actually a 6-week program. And instead of one game, you come out with 2 games. And now we're developing a relationship where it's really 3 games, because 3 games is the big opportunity. We're going to talk about that in a second. But but primarily it's Palace. If you happen to live near Boulder, and there's that opportunity, we have sent some there. But once you're into Palace, then it's the progression, right? So every break-in property here in town has a really high turnover. It's just a fact of life. Being a casino dealer, you start somewhere for a few months, 6 months, a year, and then you realize you can go to another job and make more money, and so you do, right? There are casinos, by the way, there's a casino downtown that has a month-over-month 80% turnover sometimes. Not all the time, but can you imagine if you're a business and 80% of your staff left month after month after month? It's an ongoing thing, because if you go to this certain casino, and within a minute of you starting there, you hear about the casino across the street making double, guess what casino you're going to? You're going to get the hell, take your apron off, go across the street, right? So, getting people retained and to stay and incentivize that relationship is really tough, because there's only so much a casino can give away. And the casino already has, you're only working 6 hours, you're getting 2 hours off a day, right? 2 hours in breaks. You get free food. Most of them have an EDR. There's only a few casinos that don't have an EDR. One of the newer properties, by the way, completely screwed over their employee, not Fontainebleau. Well, let's just say Circa has like a little sandwich machine. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Beautiful new property, they're giving up sandwiches, or I don't know if you have to pay for the sandwich, I'm not sure. But most of the time you get EDR, which is employee dining room, which is free food while you're there. Once you get to full-time, past your 90 days, the benefits for casinos is literally fantastic. The only area I know that has better benefits in this city, there's the banking community, so there's the banks, and then some of the mining companies in northern Nevada have some great benefits as well. But some of the best benefits you'll ever see, Station Casinos has fantastic benefits. Like literally, you can choose like free healthcare to like this upgraded paid Cadillac Care, although I've mentioned that once before and someone tried to correct me, but when I worked for them, they had one where you can pay in and get a little better service. I'm not sure if it's all free or you pay a little bit or whatever, but it's great health. They have a great healthcare program. They have all sorts of, childcare amenities. There's, phone discounts. In fact, when I worked there, they had a computer that was literally just dedicated to nothing but all the benefit programs they had within, for having, for being an employee with Station Casinos. Like literally they have discounts on solar panel. I mean, just everything you can imagine. I don't know if that's still a thing. I imagine it is. Even shoes, those of us, because if you're a casino dealer, shoes, your wardrobe becomes important. They even had this comfort shoes that you could buy at a discount. It's fantastic. So the benefits are fine. There's lots of incentive to stay, but really a lot of people looking for the money, and the money can be great. Cosmo, you make north of $100,000 a year. You're going to go to Cosmo or Ari or Bellagio as soon as you can. So these lower end properties, they have high turnover. They rely on schools like us, or some of them have their own training programs. And I will tell you this, by the way, some of their training programs suck, like absolutely suck. And they have teachers who are terrible. They put people in these positions who shouldn't be teachers in the first place, who have a really high turnover in their classes and have a hard time retaining students, just students that actually already work for these properties, in fact. And I say that they're terrible only because, well, A, we want you to come to our school. That's obviously a given. And B, because they are terrible. And guess what they do? They teach you a very singular way to deal the game. We teach you to deal for everyone. We teach you to pass every break-in property. And guess what? When you graduate our school, we're there for your whole career path, okay? You can come back. You're not going to be squirreled into one casino opportunity. Because once you graduate at some of these other training, you're kind of on your own, right? There's no career counseling or career path. There's no support in that network other than you working for that casino. So be very, very careful when some of these other programs, The greatest thing about Station Casinos is we're preparing you for the whole career. They're mindful that they're going to lose a lot of people. People are going to go to other properties. It's just the nature of the business, and they're okay with that. They want to incentivize their career path. And by the way, they have a great career path. They got Red Rock, Green Valley, Durango, all killing it. So you want to make great money, those are all great properties to work for. Santa Fe is a great property to work for. One of the best table game directors I've ever met, one of the nicest people I've ever met, one of the most down-to-earth table game directors. His name is Nick. I've known him for 5 or 6 years. He's just literally a fantastic human being. You want to go somewhere where it's laid back and it's it's just a very nice work environment, and practically everybody that's there loves working there. In fact, one of my favorite floor supervisors, Ron, works there, really nice guy. He happened to be in Dice over there. Strangely enough, I opened a Santa Fe many years ago when Sue Loudon owned the place. Yikes. That was a long time. Before it was Station, it was actually owned by someone else. There you go. Okay. How's that?
Yep. We have more questions.
More questions. All right. We'll get to, okay, go ahead. Because we're going to get to what classes to take.
Someone asked, does Casino Quest hire anybody who starts out as a student and becomes a dealer but turns into teacher, trainer / retail employee for Casino Quest?
Oh my God, is that somebody from our Casino Quest that
asked
that?
At least I don't think they are.
It is a thing, 100%. So we definitely look for talented people who have a greater affinity to teaching players. And we have 2 of our employees have never worked at a casino before and are fantastic. They're players. They love to play. They love the games, and they've been teaching. I taught them, or they've learned organically in some cases. We're trying to get them back to the school, quite honestly. But they're very good. They're a lot of fun. So that's absolutely a thing. We're expanding our footprint at Casino Quest in the mall. We're creating this new common area experience. So we expect to be higher. We also have an event coming up for March Madness. So some of the dealers, we've even approached 2 of them currently who are in our program. Well, we're going to use them to carry out this March Madness event. So that's absolutely a thing. I know it's now in that case, we're looking for a different kind of experience, of course, right? We're looking for someone who is, really outgoing and is personality driven and this kind of thing. How you deal the game is less important. We want the dealing to look as realistic as possible. There's nobody really watching you. There's no surveillance. There's none of that. So it's a little different experience, but that's 100. And it'll become more a thing here too. By the way, once we have the player training center.
2 more questions.
Yeah.
Someone says, how long does the program to be a craps dealer?
Yeah. All right. So a craps dealer course takes between Well, so 2 to 4 weeks, or 2 to 4 months realistically. We have a 5-week program that you can plug into that's sort of an accelerated fast track program. And then once you graduate that, it's enough to get working in most places. And we want you to come back. In fact, the t-shirt I'm wearing right now is only available if you pass my dice class. And I personally teach the dice class. So we have a few people that interact that teach the dice class, but the lead instruction 12 to 2 every day is quite literally me, except for Wednesdays. We film on Wednesdays, and it's a fantastic class. I've been loving dice for over 30 years now, and I have interacted and been part of a break-in casino. Remember, I told you I had a lot of shit jobs, and the greatest thing about the shit jobs, which I never thought would work out later in life, was I worked with a lot of break-in dealers. I've worked with a ton of break-in dealers. I've gone down those halls on day one with so many people, you have no idea. And I have gotten to know how people interact with the game and how they interact with the checks. And I have developed a course where you overcome all of that, and you can become a really great crap dealer. And if you doubt that whatsoever, you go on Casino Quest, you watch me deal. Now some of those videos I'm being a little lazy because, again, it's for YouTube, but you'll see what we call hands and how I set up the checks. You have only to interact with me a little bit, and you'll know. And by the way, all you crap dealers out there that want to come and challenge David, you come down. Even if you whack me, I love the challenge. I love having some great dealers. I'm not the best dealer. There's a guy named Sonny who is one of the best dealers I've ever seen, but there's quite a few of us out there. There's quite a few dealers out there. We go.
Can dealers get hired full-time? Do they normally get hired part-time to start? Does it depend on the games, or does it depend on the casino?
All right, so we're getting a little ahead, but okay, so it does depend on the casino. So there are casinos right now that have full-time right out of school. If you're someone who happens to be a little older and you're looking for benefits, and that's really the go-to, I have some properties for you right this second that are hiring full-time dealers with 2 games. Now, apart from that, most casinos, there's a 90-day probation, and the more games you know, the easier it is to go into a full-time position. So it's not always about seniority anymore. It's really about the games you know. If you know dice, that's the fastest way. If you know dice or craps, it's the fastest way to getting a full-time position. Or if you know 3 games right out of school. So the more versatile and the more utility you have for that casino, the more opportunity there is. As simple as that. If you come to a casino, you just know 1 game, you might be part-time till the end of days, But there's that. So I will say that on the lower and mid-tier properties, lots of opportunity to go full-time faster. On the top-tier properties, that's the downside of going for the money sometimes is, sometimes you'll have to wait a year to get a full-time position. And it's kind of the way it is. Yeah.
I'm going to ask one more question,
Okay.
and I'll save for anyone in the chat who has a question. I see it. You're just going to wait for a second.
Yeah.
Quick question says, do you have to be 21 to get a break-in job?
So here in Vegas, you do. There are other markets you only have to be 18. So in fact, I have this young girl who might be coming out to learn from us, and we have taught a few. Washington State is the one opportunity for you to start early, and they're always looking for dealers. So there's Washington State. There might be a few other Indian markets that also have that. But if you want to get started earlier and have that on your resume as of 18, there's definitely some opportunity for you. As far as coming to the school, you can start at 18. We've had a few dealers start at 19 and then ended up by the time they bought all the games, took their time, and then they turned 21. In fact, one of them is one of our coaches who started at 19 years old. We've had a few, but yeah. Good. All right. Now we're going to move on. Okay, so we're going to get to what classes. Then we're going to share kind of the process. All right. I'm going to share, kind of break it down, real simple process. But okay, what are the classes to take? It really breaks down into 2 basic categories. First of all, you have to learn blackjack. We don't let you skip over blackjack. So as many people that say they want to come and learn roulette or craps or do something, you have to learn blackjack. At the very least, here in the United States, blackjack is, the biggest game, the most tables on the floor. You have to learn blackjack to get in anywhere. You really have to have that it's very rare that you can go anymore and just be a crap dealer. And even if you are just a crap dealer, you want blackjack as sort of a backup, you know what I mean? In case that there's, you want to be useful. When I was a dealer, you could literally just be a crap dealer, and there were years where I never touched the blackjack table, but having blackjack was a requirement to get into most of the properties, so you have to have blackjack. The next thing is you should come with the mindset of you want to get out with 3 games. Or the other option is 2 games, blackjack and craps, right? So we have a fast track program at our school that's literally blackjack and craps, or it's blackjack, roulette, and bac are the 3 main games. And then ideally, if you can get a carnival game or a specialty game like Pai-Gow, Ultimate Texas, these types of things, but those aren't considered main games, although Pai-Gow is close to a main game. If you know blackjack, Pai-Gow, and let's say bac, that's pretty versatile. That'll get you around the casino. Almost all the casinos here in Vegas have a Pai-Gow or have a Pai-Gow table, right? So if you want to stay away from dice or feel like dice is too much and you'll be bending over or whatever, that's fine. You can do the blackjack, roulette, bac pathway, right? And then having those 3 games is, and then maybe adding Pai-Gow, or again, blackjack, Pai-Gow, and one of those. And what we recommend is after blackjack, you kind of go to baccarat or roulette, depending upon how deep you want to get into. And now here I'm going to mention it, the math. If you're a little more friendly with math, roulette's a great place to start. And a lot of people really love dealing roulette. It's one of those things where you'll find a game that you have the greatest affinity for, by the way. Where either like the people, the action, or the way the chips move, whatever the case is. Roulette, there's a lot of dealers who really love this game. I personally do not like to deal this game because I find that mucking checks and doing all this other stuff and everyone's stacking up and going, it's not, I love dealing dice. So you'll have people who deal dice, that's the game they love. They wouldn't be in this business if not for dice. Now, how many of those people just love blackjack? It really depends. My friend who's the Wall Street stockbroker, he loves dealing black. He loves the simplicity of it because he wants to talk. He's like a bartender on a blackjack table. He deals out the cards. He talks to everybody. Gets to know all. He loves being on the strip. And being on the strip is different, by the way. And that also comes up here. I'll get to that in a second. But so blackjack, roulette, and bac is one path, and then anything in dice, blackjack and dice, blackjack, roulette, and dice. But ultimately, the more games you have, the more options you have, right? And so the next recommendation I have is when you come to the school, it's really about you and your budget and your time. I always tell you, so we have packages when you sign up that are less expensive when you buy it up front because it helps us manage our business, it helps us manage our bills, we know you're going to be a student, this kind of thing. The more games that you get initially, we give you all 7 games, 4 mains, 3 carnival games. We have a package, I think it's $995, $1,000, and you save like $600 doing that. And we recommend you doing that, not because it just helps us, right? In fact, because you get all the games, and ultimately you need all the games. If you want to get as far as the Aria, Bellagio, and Cosmo, all these, they need you to have all the mains. You have to be an extremely versatile dealer. They use a scheduling system, and the more games you have, the more days you get scheduled, the more opportunity there is to go full time, and that's just the end of it. So like, if I know that you're going to stay in this business, sign up for 1 game at a time. That's how our school makes the most money. Right? Because if you sign up for 1 game at a time, you don't get much of a discount or any discount, right? By signing up for all the games, we give you that discount, and that gives you the opportunity to come back. Now, you don't have to learn all the games to get a job. I only need you to have 2. I can get you in the door, and most dealers will come back to the school and learn the other games, and that's where we start talking about the career path and moving on. You follow? So like, easy peasy, you know what I mean? But anyway, so that's the path. So blackjack, roulette, or bac, and then blackjack and craps. Craps is a big game. Obviously, it's not for everybody. It's a little overwhelming for some people. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on, and I totally get it. I talk about how easy it is. It's not always that easy. It's definitely a process to learning craps and becoming a good crap dealer. But once you get it, you'd be surprised at how many people started out learning craps. 2 weeks into it, they come to David and they're like, oh my God, this is too much and there's too many things going on and everything else, and they want to bail. But if you stick to it, I can make you a crap dealer. I've made damn near everybody a crap dealer. But it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, and we don't like to put you into, square peg, round hole kind of thing. We want you to be you. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to be happy, and it's all about you. So, all right. I'm going to go into, what's next? We good? I missed something and I said I was going to come back to it. Now I forgot what the hell I said I was going to come back to. See what I'm saying? I should be taking notes here. Do you remember what I said?
No.
No, you're not paying any attention. My God, man. All right, so I don't remember. Does anybody remember? Because this is on a delay, so we have to sit here. Does anybody remember what I said I was going to come back to?
I'll ask you a question.
Go ahead,
while
ask you a question.
They try to put it in the chat. Someone says, do you think I could be hired with only having blackjack dealing experience?
Yes, 100%. I have a few casinos right now. Obviously, they're entry-level tier, but if you literally just want to learn blackjack and get a job, there are a few of those. You will be stuck there until you learn another game. Like, you will be stuck. And so, listen, some of those casinos love for you to be stuck. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how it is. They love for you to be stuck. If you only have one game, where are you going to go? They love it. You just keep that one game, and then they'll teach you their way on another game, and you'll be more and more stuck. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works.
No. So you know how you ask people to remind you?
Yeah, what was it?
The thing that they are saying is just strip.
Strip? Oh, the strip?
Something on the strip.
Oh, yeah. So okay, yeah. Here in Vegas, that's great. They just said strip. Fantastic. So I was telling you about my friend who loves to work on the strip, and he loves to meet tourists, and that's 100% of the thing. So there are three different types of job besides the money. There's local casinos, downtown, and the strip, and they're very different types of dealing interactions. And different people love to do those jobs in different ways. If you're from a local community, just so you know, like if you have any experience and you've worked in a local community, you get a lot of the same people. Those casinos play out a lot like our local casinos, like a Red Rock or Green Valley, a Santa Fe. You deal with a lot of the same people. Every now and then you have the family night. You get to know a lot of the people that you deal to. Some of it can be a real grind. Every now and then you have the high limit you know what I mean? It's sort of the same thing every week. It's on rewind, right? I love working at local places and getting to know local people. I also love some of the strip dynamic, and that's where downtown has always been my favorite place to be. The money hasn't always been the best downtown, although there are some good jobs downtown. I love dealing to people that are kind of strip oriented or tourists, and you do still get locals who find downtown a little more affordable. And I also love the chaos of it all. I love the rambunctiousness. I love when the cowboys come to town. I love when all these different types of people interact, and it's kind of a different type of people. It's not when you're on the strip and you get a lot of these bougie people who are buying in for more money than sin, and you're just looking at them going, "Oh my God, dude, really? Do you have no bills? How is it that you have all this money?" Or these entitled young people, that just talk smack and get drunk, and next thing downtown, it's like the Wild West a little bit. You get people who are more down to earth. They care about their money. They're working systems. They're working strategy. I love that stuff. But if you work the strip, you get a whole new set of people every week. And this my one friend. I would say he's my friend. He gets a whole new set of people every week, and because he's sort of the bartender dealer, they'll come back to him and play with him the whole time they're there. He'll get to know them, where they're from. He has this great demeanor. He just loves it. He loves sharing the stories, interacting with people like that. I get tired of it, to be honest with you, the strip stuff. It's just. Me personally, I like the local flavor. I love the downtown flavor. I do like some of the big money action. So it's kind of exciting. You get to a high limit. You have a guy buying for $100,000 or $300,000, whatever it is, and that could be exciting. But for the most part, but different things for different people. Some people love. I know someone right now who's working high limit, and that's been his goal his entire casino career, just wanting to get to the high limit. He's not at the high limit play, but he's really, really, really close. He's doing a fantastic job. But his goal was always to get to he wanted to see the biggest action and put his hands on the biggest checks, and he's on his way to doing that. So that's why I mentioned that. All right, good. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So here, let's go through the process at CED just to give you a heads up. And it's similar to a lot of other, let's say, by the way, let me first dispel the accreditation crap. So just so you know, okay? There's a few schools out here that offer you free dealer school through accreditation. What they do is they get these Pell Grants and things like that pay for and they send you to the literally shittiest casino. And they're a terrible school, and I tell you they're a terrible school because they're charging $10,000 for the same thing where we're charging $500. And if you think that's outrageous, you're right. So they're charging the government, our government, and your tax dollars, $10,000 for a program that should be $500 or $600, and then they send these uninformed, uneducated, undeveloped. They have big-ass billboards in town. They can come for me all they want because these dealers, I would put them against any of our one-week dealer, literally one-week dealer. I actually went to their school years ago, many years ago, and got a refund. Almost within a day or so, which I still have that receipt, so it's a fact. And it's a terrible school, and it says that they're accredited like a college. It's all bullshit. So the number of credits that transfer from you being a dealer to you being a scientist is probably 0. So any of you who have had the misfortune of going to a school, calls himself, has a regional accreditation, and then you try to transfer those credits to an actual school, it just doesn't work that way. So they sit you down, because this is the conversation they had with me, and try to convince you that their accreditation, they're the only accredited. It's absolute nonsense. First of all, for that $500, and it's so hard to convey this when we have people that come to the school. It's just, so I don't even have this conversation because it's just impossible, because they think that I just have bias, which you know, I don't blame them. I'm here at the school, I'm trying to sell you on coming to my school. Of course I have a little bias, there's no harm in it, but now I'm gonna have a little less bias, and you just take it for what it's worth. But if anyone tells you they're accredited, if you're in a market, this school is in a few markets, by the way, if the school tells you they're regionally accredited and somehow that transferred to you being a better dealer, it's absolute nonsense, it's pure hokery. It has nothing to do with you being a dealer. We're not, this is not a barbershop academy, or this is not where we're not teaching you how to be a bartender, okay? You know, we're teaching you cards, and what matters when you learn cards and chips and the games are the experience of the people that are teaching you, that they have interacted with the game and they can overcome any of the things that you're dealing with, and their ability to teach, dude. Their ability to teach. If you go somewhere and someone just has 10, 15, 20 years in the business, who cares if they can't teach? Not everybody can teach, you know? You know what I do a very good job at? I do a very good job at my lectures and showing people how the game works. And then I pass off that teaching assignment to people who are better at the drilling parts of it and the hands-on things and the very patient-oriented things. You follow? We always work to our strengths. We have teachers that do a few things really well, and that's what they focus on, and they pass it off to other teachers that do other things fairly well. Because just because someone says that, you know, or let's say you have 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, and you guys, you know this is true. Some of you out there are gifted as teachers. You're patient, you articulate well, you keep people engaged and excited. All these things are important to that process, because becoming a dealer, it doesn't happen. There's no magic wand someone can wave make you a dealer. It's a process, right? And you need people who are patient. Or in some cases, maybe not patient. They have to hold a bar to you. Hey, Becky. But not everybody can teach. And so we have people that come to the school all the time, and they have 30 years and 50 years, and they tell me what a great dealer they were, and they started out in the 1970s and the 80s, or whatever. I don't care. I only care if you can teach. Can you teach this game? We need to see you on the game, talking, interacting with students, moderating, dealing with interacting. That's what matters. And there are these programs that happen here in Vegas, where one of them is run by this guy. He's a terrible, terrible teacher. He has a really high turnover. He started 31 people in dice. Only one person remained after the first 2 weeks. And they continue. And if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know how you learn from that, how you not learn from that. You know what I mean? When we have a class at art, we have almost complete retention. There's a few people that drop out every now and then because, they think dice, they play it and then it becomes too much or whatever the case. It's understandable. It happens all the time. They go back to other games. But our graduates will tell you something, have a whole different experience. I promise you that. Okay, did I do that rant? But if a place tells you that it's worth $10,000, you walk out the door. And because it's not worth $10,000. Now, are we undercharging people? Sure, I think so. I think we could get away with $1,000 a class. We would probably have a lot less students, and so we don't want that. But it's not worth $10,000, and they're not getting you better jobs. You ask them where they sent the last 10 people. You know where they sent the last 10 people? To shitty jobs. You know what I mean? So it's so hard for me to convey that. I know where they're going. They're working with only 2 and 3 properties, and more than likely they're getting paid to work for those properties. I don't have proof of that. I can't tell you that that's a thing, but I've heard it's a thing. Okay, but I'm not even mentioning this school. Okay, I'm not going to mention the school. I'm not going to mention their billboard in front of our school. Anyways. But them being a regionally accredited school, it matters. All it does is allows them to tap into all this free money, and they advertise the free dealer school, and they're having your tax dollars are paying for these people to pay a shit ton of money to go to a terrible school where frankly we pay our instructors more. Can you imagine? A school is collecting $10,000 a student, and their instructors at that school make less than our instructors. How do you think that translates? I don't even understand. I met one of their instructors, and you can go there and ask them how much they make, or meet them out. I know where one works, and they can tell you. They've tried to come over and work for us. We pay more. How the hell do we pay more, and we charge 10%? Anyways, is that a rant? See, I always work in a few rants for you guys. It's that easy, dude. All right. Now we're going to go over the process, and we're going to talk about the actual dealing school process, because this is literally the next part of the conversation we have. So it's very easy. You register online or you register in person. If you register online, the clock doesn't start ticking until you show up at the school. So if you register online, that money just sits there until you're ready to come to the school. That's number one. If you register in person, the clock starts ticking. So now you're ready. You can register in person and start in the future. We do have people who registered, then they go on vacation, or they have issues, whatever the case is. Day one, you're going to show up at the school, and we're going to introduce you to the table dynamics. We're going to give you a manual. Everything is included, by the way. There's no extra charges. There's no funny stuff. We don't upsell you. There's a school, by the way, in California where you get 3 months or 6 months, I forget what it is, and what they do is they audition you. And if you don't audition, you have to do this 3-month extension that costs you money. Well, we don't have any of that nonsense, okay? This is what you're all in. Okay, now, when you come to the school, so you start on blackjack. Everybody starts on blackjack. And we teach you all the fundamentals. You learn how to cut checks, you learn check values, you learn game protection, basic game protection. And we're open 11 to 6, and it's on you. I mean, it's really just on you. It's a very self-paced environment. We use a checklist. We follow your progress. Our instructors are very diligent. We actually have a tablet, and we have this new learning management system. So we're almost done. Right now we have blackjack. By the way, it's at dealers.school. So if any of you are interested, there's blackjack up there now. I think it's $99 to go through the blackjack course. There's not a lot there, but the blackjack course is very good. We've had people actually go through that class and get to work or start in other casinos. So it's a really good class. But we are developing that whole management system. It's going to have craps and a few other. It's going to have all the courses eventually. And the other beautiful thing about it is if you're a student at the school or online, you'll be able to interact and connect and see where you are in this checklist. You'll see where things that you need to accomplish and perform, that kind of thing. So and we're going to have a job board, so you'll know all the jobs that are out there, the people that are recruiters looking for dealers. It'll be a really interactive space. We've spent an absolute fortune at this, too. We have a full stack developer, we have a designer that's working on this, and we've been at this now for a year. We did have this under a different organization, but we're doing this on our own. It's a bit of a heavy lift, I'll be honest with you, and it's taken a lot longer because we've come across some things. But anyways, it's dealers.school if you're interested. If you do sign up at that $99, we're going to sort of grandfather it in. So we're going to be offering some real discounts. Those of you that are part of that system, just know that as Craps gets in there, you guys can be part of that. But all right, we'll get to the training center part. We'll talk about that more later. All right, so we have this checklist. We follow your progress. As soon as you complete the checklist, so you learn, practice, and perfect. Learn, practice, and perfect every day until you're literally getting around the table and dealing. And many times you're going to go through, every week we have a new class starting, and we have new people start, but you can start any day of the week. Ideally, you start on a Monday at 11, which is great, because then you fall into, we have people that come from station, we have people that come from different places, so that's and you get to start with like a group of other students, right? And those are students who you're going to start this pathway, and you will be part of their experience. And then you learn, practice, and perfect. Learn, practice, and perfect. You go down this checklist until the end, and then once you get to the end and your checklist is finished, you schedule an audition with one of our lead instructors. There's only 2 of them right now. It's either Lauren or Becky. And Lauren and Becky will do an assessment. If you pass that assessment, you pass the game, we give you a certification, and now you start having options, right? Now, we talked about we have 1-game options, which are less. You know that free school I was telling you about, or the one that gets their tax dollars and you pay 10 grand? Those are some of the options for the one game, because they'll literally take anybody with a heartbeat, okay? You won't make a lot of money, but at least you get started, and there's some people who need a job and they need to get to work quickly, and that's where you get to work quickly, okay? Now, once you learn 2 games, I got more options, 3 games, more options, and so forth and so on, okay? And then we start talking career path. But I get you out of the school as quickly as you need to get out of the school. And then once you're like David, and you keep coming back to school adding games, and once you're like David, I got experience, where do I go next? We help you get to the next job. If you need it. A lot of people we never hear from again. You know what I mean? They take off, they do their own thing. Congratulations, great. But it is Vegas. A lot of people talk out their ass, so be careful. People talk about, I ran into that myself, so just be careful. But, okay, so once you get your certificate, and once you apply, you're going to apply online, then we're either going to refer you or send you down there and then you're hired. There's a few places where we audition you, and that audition is plenty. Once Becky gets done with you, and Becky's a high bar. She's not easy. She's tough, okay? And we make it a little tough because we want you to know that if you get through Becky, you're good to go, right? And that's the thing, because you're going to come across people who audition you, who interview you, who aren't easy. You know, they want better dealers, and you're going to you're going to have the confidence that you can pass any. If you get through Becky or Lauren, for that matter, you have the confidence to know you can go to all the places we're going to send you. And by the way, you may not pass still, because what happens is you're going to get nervous, you're going to shake, you're going to sweat. It might be a bad day. Maybe everything we taught you just left your brain. And you're like, oh my God, you know what you do? You come back. It's okay. I have failed so many auditions in my lifetime. Every dealer out there except Lauren. Lauren is the only one who shows up for an audition and hits a royal flush on the video poker machine while she's waiting in line for audition. The rest of us have failed plenty of auditions because that's how it goes. So we have bad days, emotional days, things happen. Don't worry about it. Come back to the school. Don't even think about it. Just come back to the school. If you got through Becky, I got you covered. You come back, get a little more practice, go on a day that's more comfortable, or, you know, quite frankly, we can send you to a new place. You know what I mean? So it's never a thing, okay? But just know that, like, you know, just because, you know, there's no guarantees. You know, what the old expression is, shit happens, and just know that's a thing. I want you to come back. There's no failing. You're just going to move on and do something better. Now, once a casino accepts you and hires you, they're going to send you through gaming. And the gaming is an email. You're going to get an email. You're going to respond to the email, and you're going to start this gaming application. You're going to go through, answer some questions about your background. Hopefully you're not wanted for anything too important. If you have an active warrant, or you're wanted for something somewhere, it may be a tough thing and there'd be a no. But as long as you get to that gaming application, most people, and it gets to the very end where you pay your money, and your money, I believe, is like $95 or $100, something like this.
I think it's like 105 now.
It might be 105, but around $100. So you pay at the end, and then you get this receipt, and on the receipt is where you got to get fingerprints. You got to get fingerprints. You got to go somewhere. They got to take your fingerprints. It's like it's like $60 now, right? It's like it used to be like $20. Now it's like $60. Yikes!
I think some people said 75 the other day.
Wow. All right, but anyways, you got to go you print that out. You get that form. And by the way, if you don't have a computer or a printer, guess what we do? You come to CG. We print out, or if you have any problem with the application process, guess what? We got a computer, we got a printer. You come to the school, we'll help you out. We'll get you through the process. We'll help you apply. We'll help you submit your application, gaming application. We'll help you. Now, some of you are, I don't know how many of you have English. This is probably not the podcast for you if you're not speaking English, but if English is an issue, we got you covered, because we have a lot of foreign students. We have Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and we help you with all of it. Like, it's not a thing. Like, we just recently, we had a whole group of Chinese. We printed out their fingerprint things. Then they go and they get the fingerprint, and then you're on your way. You're scheduled to go to a station, calls it a celebration, but most times they'll schedule you to go to something where you get acclimated with the property.
Orientation.
And then, you get a schedule and you're on your way. Now, what are the things that'll preclude you from being a dealer? Financial crimes primarily. And really anything really, really bad that's on your thing in the last 10 years, okay? I used to work with a guy that quite literally got out of jail for manslaughter, and had been 10 years, and he was working as a dealer. So, that's the thing. So financial crimes is really the big one, but after 10 years, if it's dropped off and it's not part of your regular thing, or you've got it, what do they call that, where you can scrub it, you know what I mean? Anyways, so there's not a lot of thing. Now, if in the last couple months you've had an issue, I mean, there is a phone call. You can call gaming. So on gaming, you go to the gaming website. In fact, most jurisdictions will have some type of contact number. Call the contact number and they'll tell you who to contact from there. There used to be a quick reference, like we either drop down. So if you were in the process of any kind of gaming license application, there was a number and you could call them anonymously and say, hey, I got this on my record. What are the chances of me getting licensed by gaming? And they would literally tell you. So you would just read the charge and the offense and they'd be like, listen, dude, you have no shot. You know what I mean? Or we don't care about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It used to be a pretty low bar here in Vegas, by the way. And I know that it's kind of hit or miss with that.
It's called expunge, people are saying.
Yeah, expunge. Yeah, where they expunge your record. So if they have expunged your record, okay, so the last thing I'm going to get to is, okay, we're going to take some questions and then I'm going to introduce our training center. And I think hopefully some of you will be pretty excited about that. We're slowly rolling out a lot more information. This next week, we're hoping to allow everybody to either sign up as a tier or sponsor the training center, and there's going to be a lot of benefits available for those of you who do. We've been working on this program for a long time. We have a brand new facility coming, but all right, let me get some questions and then we'll do the training center. By the way, we're going to give away this mat or a roulette mat. Where's our roulette mat? Do we have an example of the roulette mat? Oh, it's on the wall. Oh my God, it's stuck to the wall. Well, anyways.
Holy Roller gave us $4.99. Says this weekly show is
going on a cruise, sir. Holy Roller's the cruiser.
This weekly show is perhaps one of the best, absolute best shows that you guys can do. Thank you, and keep up the outstanding efforts of helping others.
Can I mention the cruise part of it really quick, besides Holy Roller being definitive, but if you want to work on a cruise, I know it sounds fantastically glamorous, you get to cruise. There's some pros and cons. Number one is, if you're going to do a cruise, go as a supervisor, don't go as a dealer, or go as what they call a dual rate, where you have, you can supervise and deal. So if you go as just a dealer, you end up in this smaller room with more people. If you go as a supervisor or a, I wouldn't say executive, but a supervisor, you get like a bigger room, you get more amenities. The beautiful thing about being a cruise ship dealer, however, is guess what happens when the cruise ship comes to port? The casino closes. So you're basically allowed or open to do all the excursions, essentially. Like there's some staff they use to clean up and do stuff, but many cases they gotta close up the casino before they even get close to shore. And so I know many, it's not for everybody, by the way. So I would recommend if you're at all interested in being a cruise ship dealer, go on a cruise ship first, even if it's a short one. Make sure this is something you want to be part of, because it can be a little claustrophobic for some people. But if that translates and you think being a dealer would be fun, there are definitely opportunities. Now, some of them too, you get a lot of tax incentives up to a certain amount. It's essentially tax-free. And remember, you're on a cruise ship. It's not like you're out, spending at the club. And other than the excursions and things like that you might have to pay for, a lot of your money is your money. You get to keep that money. So there, people come back from these cruise ships with a nice fat bank account. So there's that. Mm-hmm. What do you got?
Someone says, do you still have to carry around your gaming card?
No, not anymore. It's all electronic. I think there's some jurisdictions where you do. I still have one of these days I'll have to show you. I have my original gaming card. I also have my gaming card from Louisiana. I look drunk, dude. I swear to God, I think I was inebriated at the time. But go ahead, what?
Someone asked, can we borrow the fee? They're talking about the fingerprints and...
Oh, can you borrow the what?
The fingerprints and the gaming card. The fee.
Oh, the fee? Oh, can you borrow the fee? Like borrow the fee from me? You might get it from Dennis, might be.
No, you can't get money out of me.
I know, Dennis Dennis keeps his money tight. Tight, tight, tight. I can't even get like a juice from Dennis, dude. It'll be like, my wallet.
I got you 2 juices.
That he did. By the way, now we're gonna hear about every juice he ever got me. Just so you know.
I also got 360
he's a huge
waters.
Huge contributor. All right, go ahead. What else you got?
That's most of the questions.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to end with this, and we're gonna give away this mat.
Actually, this is a good question. Are the casinos still drug testing, and does cannabis matter now that it's legal?
That is a great question. So it doesn't. The cannabis doesn't matter. The governor, the last governor, sponsored a law which went through, and they can't test. So non-essential jobs can't test for marijuana. The issue is if you get injured on the job, then it's part of federal regulations that they test you, and then you can be let go if you have marijuana. So for example, if I had a friend, I'll show you the worst example. I wouldn't say he's a friend. Just someone I knew as a supervisor. I know, I say everybody's a friend. I mean, people I know, this is how we refer. But this poor supervisor had been working at this one casino for 20 years, dude. 20 years work at the casino, and a customer came up and spit on him and had this interaction. And literally it was just a person who was drunk and losing their money, and the supervisor was trying to get them out of the casino, and so it was a woman, and she spit on him, and because she spit on him and the spit made contact, it was a contact, and it was like they were charging her a battery, but he had to get tested. Strangely enough, I'm not sure what the whole requirement was, but maybe you guys that are in HR or whatever, live insurance thing. But he had to go in and get tested, and quite literally he lost his job. So he knew he was high as a kite, and I guess he had been imbibing, let's just say. But this was after pot was legal, and ultimately he just resigned his job instead of being fired for cause. And then 30 days later they rehired him because he was a fantastic employee. But guess what? When they rehired him, he lost his seniority, he lost his full-time benefits, he lost all of the vacation. It was unbelievable. That was the worst case I've ever heard of. But let's just know, like, if you fall down some stairs at work and it falls under the OSHA stuff, which are federal guidelines, they're going to send you to get tested, and they find something in your system. I don't know what it is that then you might get either suspended or you might get fired. But to get hired, unless you're like driving an ambulance or you're a police officer, these kinds of things, they don't test for marijuana anymore. They do test, some of the bigger places will test for any of the hard stuff, like really the hard, the other stuff. And some places, by the way, some of the really top places, they do credit checks too. So like, I won't list them specifically, but they literally do credit check because you're managing really big bets, and they want to make sure you're a viable entity. Like, you're not in a position where you're so broke you might have to like take a little out of the, get a little taste, take it home with you. All right, good?
Good.
All right, so here's what we've been working on forever. You ready? Here's what I've been working on, like literally forever. And it's funny because really back in, I wouldn't say forever, but 2019, I wrote up this thing about the training center. It was this idea where we wanted to have enough room. We really wanted to be the destination for people who want to train in the casino space all over the world, and provide an environment that's very conducive. The problem with most of the schools, the school environments are really small. They don't have all the equipment. They don't have all the specialty work. Even our school our school currently is 3,400 square feet. We have 18 to 21 tables depending upon how it's configured, and it looks like a pit with some fringe tables around the end, but it gets a little bit convoluted. The classes aren't distinct necessarily all the time, as much as that's not always an issue. God, I don't want to put down my own school, right? But we want a space where everyone can focus on whatever game, and we want it to be where you show up and we're going to give you an ID, and now you have a school ID, and you're going to go to the classes and the area that's specific to the area, so you can focus and you can really immerse yourself, and we have teachers and the equipment and tools you need very specific to that class. So we're about to sign a lease for 9,500 square feet, and let me just tell you, I'm terrified. I'm also very excited, and it's not cheap, and it's in a location that's absolutely fantastic. It's a knockout location. Thankfully, the world has decided to work from home, dude, and now there's a lot of office space available cheap or cheaper, more approachable to kind of the money that we're able to spend to get this done. Also, thanks to our Station Casino partnership and thanks to you guys to making this possible, because guess what? This is also going to be part production facility. We're going to be able to put out our magazine here. We're going to be able to have a lot of services, a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement. So 9,500 square feet, triples the footprint of the school. It's less than a mile from the Las Vegas. It's right across from one of our biggest casino partners. It's less than a mile from the Las Vegas Strip. It's less than 2 miles from downtown. It's at the intersection of quite literally the I-15 and just catty-corner to where the 95 or that whole Charleston Arts District is. So it's accessible by every major bus route, which is fantastic for our students. A lot of students don't have cars. It's much closer. It straddles both the east side and the west side. So our school right now sits closer to a west side, central west side. But where the school will be now is very central to Vegas, very accessible to quite literally everything. The location couldn't be perfect enough. And this landlord is in a position to help us build out the space, which that's one thing we really don't know. We know we want to look at, but we're not carpenters, let's just say. We're kind of dealers. So this is someone who's really gone out of their way to help us and facilitate this whole process. But we are going to it's going to be split into 3 separate distinct areas. And the total footprint is going to be very conducive to us developing these relationships, not just with new students and with new casinos, but also with the players and our audience, our fans and people who have gotten to know us. So we're going to have an elite school, man. We're going to be the largest footprint of a school anywhere that I know of. Because not only are we going to have this 9,500 square feet, we also have a separate production facility that's 5,200 square feet. We have space at the mall now that's over 5,800 square feet, and we have a common area experience that we're building out. So we'll have a lot of interactive space, a lot of opportunity just throughout our entire business, our entire portfolio ecosystem, as you want to put it, right? So this footage will have all the games, all divvied up, everything exclusive, all specific, blackjack and craps. We're going to put 3 full-size crap tables, 2 what we call probie tables or starting tables, entry-level hands tables, drilling stations, workstations. This school will have an area where you'll be able to, bring your food and you'll be able to sit and make food. A little kitchenette kind of area is already there. It'll have like a lounge and space for dealers to sit and relax. Like currently, you kind of have to walk outside. There's not a whole lot of sitting outside of you being at the tables, of course. And one of the downfalls of the space that we're in is we can't have any vending. So we have our landlord currently has a vending company and wants to install his own vending machines that, by the way, aren't cheap. And they want to charge our students who are students, dude. They're trying to make a living. They're trying to get a job. We don't want to charge them $3 for a water. It's ridiculous. So, but we'll be able to do the vending and fill it with our own stuff. So we'll make things that are affordable and accessible and not make that the issue. And then we're going to have a separate area where it's going to be elite, what we're going to call elite and express training. So the elite training is our single zero classes, our Dice Master classes, the classes that'll be separate and distinct, that'll be held in its own private, upgraded, Class A type of experience. And we're going to introduce what we call express courses that will be available, not just so the express courses are available for a couple different categories of people. One is, if you're someone interested in becoming a dealer and you don't have 2 months to spend to figure it out, come for a weekend, a Saturday, a Sunday, come to Vegas, and it's 5 hours for 2 days. So it's 5 hours and 5 hours. There's 4 hours each day of directed training, and then there's lunchtime and breaks and things like this, right? But it's 5 hours and 5 hours, Saturday and Sunday. Eventually, if it becomes popular, we're going to add like a Wednesday through Thursday, because some of you like coming midweek, take advantage of lower roommates, that kind of thing. But you'll be able to come on a Saturday and Sunday and go through this course. Now, it's going to be at a premium price. And the reason for that is because we have to have a dedicated instructor, dedicated resources. We're going to limit the exposure. You're going to be in a really small class. So we're going to limit the classes to 5 people, no more than 5 people per blackjack, craps, or roulette class, okay? So the greatest thing is, so our normal classes are less money because bigger footprint, 1 teacher per X amount of students. But in this class, you'll have dedicated focus instruction for 5 hours each day well, 4 hours each day. Did I say that right? 5 hours. 5 hours each day. So 10 hours total. And now here's the other thing. We have a casino partner, and we're working with them to get you rates at this property minus the resort fee and all this other stuff. So you'll be able to come at a fixed lower rate. Now that rate will not always be available if it's like a holiday, if it's a special event. Obviously we can't get that, but for all the other weekends where that's not a thing, you'll be able to come and schedule time to come see us. So if you're worried about that, that's always a thing. A lot of you have your own rooms, you can do that. Okay, so if you're interested in being a dealer, this will be a 2-day intensive. Come check it out, spend a weekend with us, and maybe you come back and you start a career of it or go wherever you want. You know what I mean? We're gonna give you a certificate. You're gonna be able to be what we call a fun night dealer. You won't necessarily be able to be a full craps dealer. You might need a little more work, but some of you, by the way, some of you are flipping geniuses. That's all you need is the spark, dude. 2 days might be all you need to just get everything under your skin, figure out all the hand stuff, and then go to our online courses and then finish up. And then go local and maybe they have some hands-on training and they can evolve you, but it'll be a really wonderful process. Now, the other category for our express training is going to be tourists. So we're going to use people that want to come as families and groups. If you and your husband and wife, and girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case, this is going to be something to do in Vegas. You're going to be able to be a Las Vegas dealer. So the joy of coming to our school is that we have not just CED Dealer School, we have Casino Quest. So we're going to train you, and then we're going to roll you out onto our floor, our Casino Quest floor, and you're going to actually participate as a live dealer for players. You follow? We're the only business that's uniquely situated to do this. Now, are you going to be, is this going to be for money? No. There's no gambling. There's no surveillance. It's going to be a much lower bar, but at least you get acclimated and you're going to get some interaction with real players. And we feel like it's going to be a big win. And we also feel like we're one of the few businesses that is uniquely situated to kind of perform this or have this kind of experience available, right? We're not a gaming licensee. We don't fall under gaming. So you cannot come to Vegas and go through a program at a casino and just do a 2-day adventure. It doesn't work that way because you'd have to go through gaming, license. There's this whole process. But with us, we can structure all the training for you and then put you on our Casino Quest floor, and it's a win. It's absolutely a win, and you can say you were legitimately a Las Vegas dealer, and you dealt to real players with real questions and real interest, and that's the thing. And then you'll be part of our community, and then you'll be part of our learning management system. And then wherever you go, whether you're here local or you're from some other community, you'll have this connection to both the school and Casino Quest that you can use and evolve over time. And we're hoping, we have corporate groups. We just did a corporate group the other day. It was absolutely fantastic, where we taught them how to deal in 45 minutes, okay? It was a fun thing. It wasn't supposed to be, we're not making them dealers. They just wanted experience. It was on craps, by the way. And we taught them just a few things, cutting checks, marking the point, and it was a lot of fun, dude. We had about 40 people, and it was a lot of fun. It was something unique, something very engaging. We broke off into a bunch of teams, and then the teams competed against each other, and it was really just a fantastic thing. And so, we do a lot of corporate groups now. We've done some of the biggest companies you can think of have been to our space, have interacted with us at Casino Quest, and it's become a mainstay of, and really it's a part of our success. We don't make a lot of money, as you can well imagine, on individual players. Our reservations are $25 for an hour. When you guys come and do the YouTube challenges, they're a little bit more money. We don't make a lot of money on that either because we have a staff. They have to edit the videos and upload them and all that stuff. But can you imagine if you do an hour for anything, we're only charging $25 as a business on the Las Vegas Strip? Yeah, we're making zero money for that. In fact, we're probably losing money. I haven't done the exact math yet because I don't want to confront the exact math. But for the most part, it's a loss leader for us. It's a payback for YouTube, and we get content, we get engagement. You guys come and you buy stuff. You come to our store, you get souvenirs, and all that sort of adds up. And that's really how we have prospered and grown. And I will tell you, and David, our team, we're about the long game, dude. We don't just watch our own noses. We're always looking at, where is this going in the future and how we can be a positive part of our community. And it's a thing. It's a thing. Anyways, all right. So that's the training center. And then the other part of the training center, or the training center, is that we have offices and a conference room, and we'll be able to engage with sponsors. We'll be able to engage with, we have this production printer, we have designers and graphic artists, and we'll be able to really sort of build out, provide our magazine. We're working on new manuals, new player manuals for all the games and things like this, and different resources for our students, and all of these will be now part of this new facility. And we can't be more excited to share it with you. And some of you will be asked, so if you're part of the training center supporter, you don't have to be an actual supporter. You can just sign up to get information if you want to just be part of that line of information. We already have about 150 of you, 150 give or take. But there's going to be opportunities for you to be a sponsor, and depending upon the sponsor level, you will have either access to those amenities, access to the training center. You will get various benefits through our LMS, and we have merchandise and stuff like this. So we're crowdsourcing it, if you will, for people that come to Vegas, want to be part of our experience, want to upgrade their experience with us, and so that's coming. But anyways, all right, you ready? That's it. That's all I got. So the rest of it will just be questions, and we got to give this out. Can we do the training center? We'll do the center or center. How about center or training or CEG? I don't know. This is on Casino Quest, right? The podcast? Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's give this away. What do you got? Do we have any questions? Anything left? Coffee.
You kind of answered the questions that people asked, to be honest with you.
Really?
The only one is what email are the center emails being sent from?
It's going to be admin@mycasinoquest.com. Yeah, some of it went to spam. You know what's amazing is don't sign up for our emails if you're going to report us as spam, because then it affects the whole Gmail thing. So I can see where people get something and then they might click it off. I mean, I'm very specifically only sending it to the people that signed up to be training center supporters. And this next one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the list, I'm going to extrapolate it, I'm going to send it from one of our Gmail accounts. And so me and Dennis are working on an actual web page that you guys will be able to see. Right now it's on casinoquest.biz. And then we are building a site. So we own, what do we own? The training.center? The training center. We own this domain now that we are going to be using as the platform to represent. We're going to where you will be able to pre-purchase the immersion. So we call it player immersion, but these express courses will be made available in June. So our property will be built out. What we'll probably do is we'll wait a month and we'll start these courses in July. At the very worst case scenario, if for some reason this facility isn't available, you will always have CEG, the dealer school obviously, or not always, but we'll have the CEG. So you'll have an option guaranteed to come out here and be part of this experience. So what we'd like to do is pre-sell some of these at a really steep discount. So it'll be 20% off for those of you that pre-purchase. And then if you are a tier contributor, you'll get a discount on top of that. So you could get up to, I believe, up to 35% off, and even some cases free, depending upon what level. But it should be coming from admin@mycasinoquest.com. Check your spam. We just sent one out last. A few of you signed up after. I saw that we had already sent it out, so we sent it out Sunday. So if you signed up from Sunday till now, basically, I promised everybody to have it out on the weekend, and you have no idea how hard. We were so busy last week, how hard we worked to get that out. But this week, me and Dennis are working on the last leg of it, and it's going to be fantastic. I really hope. It's scary as hell, by the way. When we moved into this new space at Casino Quest and tripled our footprint, we were also pretty scared. But I'm confident this time around we're on the right path, and we have the right partners, and we have the right community. So, all right. You ready?
Pick a word.
Pick a word. Dealer? What do you want to pick? You pick the word then. What's the word?
Chip.
Chip? All right, chip. All right, dealer chip. Yeah, we don't want you to spell check because you might hurt yourself. Some of you will be.
Most people will spell it the other way.
Yeah, so because one of the very first things we teach you is the difference between a chip and a check. So a check has value, a chip does not. A chip is something that you just use on a roulette table that represents your bets. A check is something you can actually take to the cage, and it's CHEQUE, check. Yeah. All right, ready? All right, so type in chip. And for the chip that has no value, we're going to give you our very own Casino Quest prop mat. Actually, we have a number of these mats. You can go on shopcasinoquest.com, just look up the small mats that we have, and any one of those you're welcome to. We have plenty of. There's a dollar bill. There's roulette wheels. So you just tell us what you want.
The small mat. Don't.
The
think
small mat, not the
you,
4x2s. Those are selling out all the time, dude. Those are money for us, okay? These mats, all right? But if you go to shopcasinoquest.com, we have a bunch of mats. Any of those mats you can pick. You don't have to have the prop mat. We got this as a one of the classes we have is literally on props. So we got this so that our dealers can have this, set up props and work on the prop keys. Put the chips. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. All right, what do you got? All right, tell me when.
Well, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Go.
1 through 10.
3.
Rohan Gomez. Roy. I might have butchered the name, so I apologize.
He butchered the name. Mr. Gomez.
I am adding you in chat so you can see.
Yeah, fantastic. So don't give us your address out loud, but Dennis will get your address. We cover shipping and we send it out. No worries. It's free and it's free. So we'll send it to you. If it gets sent back, then it might be on you. But it's amazing how many. Some of these get sent back. So just be very specific about your address, name, address, and where you can get one of these delivered. Continental U.S., please, for the love of God. If you're in Australia, forget about it. Don't even bother. You know what I'm saying? We had a winner from Australia. It was like $25 to ship this, dude. That's not a thing, dude.
Someone said bloody magnets.
Bloody magnets all day long, dude.
Okay, say the line.
All right, and I'm literally off to Keynote to unwind.
And the truth is.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.